You don't hate people. Your nervous system just doesn't trust them. That sharp withdrawal you feel when someone gets too close isn't arrogance, it isn't coldness, and it isn't superiority. It's threat detection, fast, automatic, and older than your personality. Your body is making a decision long before your mind constructs a story about why you just don't like them. Most people believe distrust is a conscious judgment. It isn't. It's a physiological state. Your autonomic nervous system is constantly scanning for cues of safety or danger through a process called neuroception. You don't choose it, you experience it. And when someone's tone shifts, when their eyes linger a little too long, when intimacy moves half a step faster than you expected, your system doesn't ask, "Is this rational?" It asks, "Am I safe?" If the answer is uncertain, your body prepares for impact. This is where it gets interesting, because the reaction doesn't feel like fear. It feels like irritation. It feels like boredom. It feels like criticism. You start noticing their flaws. You feel drained. You create distance and call it discernment. But underneath that narrative is a nervous system that has associated closeness with unpredictability. Attachment conditioning wires early relational experiences directly into threat circuitry. If connection once came with inconsistency, rejection, control, or emotional volatility, your system learned a rule: proximity equals risk. And rules encoded through stress hormones are not erased by logic, they are enforced by sensation. You're not evaluating people, you're regulating yourself. There's a cognitive bias layered on top of this. Confirmation bias quietly works to justify whatever your body already decided. Once your system flags someone as unsafe, your perception filters for evidence. A delayed text becomes disrespect, a neutral expression becomes disapproval, an innocent comment becomes criticism. You believe you're analyzing character, you're actually protecting stability. Imagine your nervous system as a smoke alarm that was once triggered by a real fire. Over time, it became hypersensitive. Now, steam from the shower sets it off. You don't question the alarm, you evacuate. The problem isn't the alarm, it's the calibration. The human brain prioritizes survival over connection. Social rejection activates the same neural networks as physical pain. Research in social neuroscience shows that perceived exclusion lights up the anterior cingulate cortex, the region associated with distress. To your brain, disconnection is not symbolic, it's biological. So when someone gets close enough to potentially hurt you, your body runs a cost analysis in milliseconds. If the potential pain outweighs the reward, withdrawal wins. You may tell yourself you value independence, but what you may actually value is predictability. Here's the uncomfortable layer. When someone shows genuine interest in you, especially if they're emotionally available, your system can become even more suspicious because secure attention feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. So you lean toward people who are slightly distant, slightly inconsistent, slightly hard to read. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because your nervous system recognizes that rhythm. Familiar chaos feels safer than unfamiliar stability. This is the paradox most people never confront. You think you dislike people who are too much, too intense, or too interested, but what you may really dislike is the vulnerability their steadiness demands from you. If they stay consistent, you can't blame unpredictability. You would have to show up, and showing up means being seen. Your threat response isn't just about others, it's about exposure. Intimacy removes the protective ambiguity around your own identity. When someone gets close, they see your inconsistencies, your doubts, your dependency needs. If you learned early that those needs were inconvenient or burdensome, your system decided they were dangerous to reveal. So you protect them by pushing people away first. You might call it high standards, you might call it intuition, but sometimes it's anticipatory self-defense. There's also reward circuitry involved.
The dopamine system responds strongly to uncertainty. Intermittent reinforcement, attention that is unpredictable, creates stronger neurological bonding than stable consistency. This is why emotionally unavailable dynamics can feel intoxicating. The volatility spikes dopamine. Your body mistakes chemistry for volatility. Then, when someone steady appears, the lack of dramatic fluctuation feels flat. You interpret calm as boring. In reality, it's regulated, and regulation can feel foreign if you grew up navigating emotional storms. At some point, you likely internalized a subtle identity: I'm just not a people person. That belief becomes protective armor. It removes the pressure to engage. It explains distance without examining fear. Identity preservation is powerful. Once you attach to a self-concept, your brain defends it. If you see yourself as independent and self-contained, evidence of needing connection threatens that identity, so you maintain the narrative. But let's challenge something directly. If you truly didn't care about connection, you wouldn't feel activated when someone moves closer. Indifference is quiet. What you experience isn't indifference, it's arousal, increased heart rate, subtle muscle tension, cognitive scanning. That's not apathy, that's vigilance. And vigilance is expensive. Around this point, people want reassurance. They want to hear that their boundaries are strong and their discernment is rare. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes the boundary is a wall built around an old injury. And walls don't just keep danger out, they keep nourishment out too. Here's the cost. When your nervous system equates closeness with threat, you sacrifice depth for control. You maintain autonomy, but you lose co-regulation. You avoid betrayal, but you also avoid being deeply known. You preserve safety, but you restrict expansion. Human nervous systems are designed for co-regulation. Safe connection lowers cortisol, stabilizes heart rhythm, and increases emotional resilience. When you consistently choose distance, your system stays in low-grade activation. It becomes your baseline. You adapt to tension and call it normal. Over time, that hyper-independence can morph into isolation masked as strength. You may become highly competent, self-sufficient, even admired, but internally there's a subtle exhaustion, because managing life alone requires constant regulation. You are both the protector and the protected. And here's the deeper truth. The part of you that distrusts people is trying to prevent a repetition of something painful. It is loyal. It learned from experience. It adapted to survive. But survival strategies don't automatically update when circumstances change. The world you navigate now may not be the world your nervous system prepared for. That doesn't mean you should trust everyone. It means you should question whether every withdrawal is wisdom. Sometimes it's memory. Think of your nervous system like a bodyguard that once saved your life. Fierce, efficient, relentless. But if that bodyguard now tackles every person who approaches you with kindness, protection becomes obstruction. You don't fire the bodyguard, you retrain him. Retraining requires noticing activation without obeying it immediately. It requires differentiating discomfort from danger. It requires tolerating the unfamiliar sensation of someone staying. And that will feel unnatural at first, because safety, when you're not used to it, feels exposed. The shift isn't about forcing yourself to trust, it's about expanding your window of tolerance, allowing closeness in small increments, observing your impulse to retreat without automatically acting on it, updating the calibration of that smoke alarm. You don't hate people, you hate the vulnerability that proximity activates. And vulnerability is not weakness, it's access. Access to co-regulation, to shared meaning, to being understood without performance. But access requires risk, not reckless risk, informed, conscious, regulated risk. The question isn't whether your nervous system reacts, it will. The question is whether you interpret every reaction as truth. You are not broken for feeling guarded, you are patterned, and patterns can evolve. If something in this felt uncomfortably accurate, that's not coincidence. It's recognition, not of defect, but of protection running on outdated instructions. Awareness is the first recalibration. And if you're willing to examine the difference between instinct and imprint, you might discover that what you call dislike was simply defense. Stay curious about your reactions. That curiosity is where change begins. If you want more conversations that dissect the patterns beneath behavior instead of just labeling them, you already know what to do.